How's it going, everybody? I am here again with Dr. Ted. He is my favorite guest and only guest outside of my wife. She's clearly way better than you. And I'm sure these people like to see her
clearly
more than they like to see
I would like to see her more than me. There's no doubt about that. I have to look at this every day. I can't get away from it.
I'd just take them ears down, man. Cover them up.
Yeah.
You got an okay looking wife too. That's not a bad thing.
No, I'll take that.
Yeah,
That's
right.
One of my blessings. Jesus first, my wife second, my Kubota, and my kids are neck and neck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the kids.
You got a dog too. Don't forget about that guy.
The dog rolls in poop. The dog.
We've all been there.
Bathed her last night. Put on some Victoria's Secret warm and cozy.
The dog?
Yeah, she stunk, but apparently she's warm and cozy because she went out and rolled and poop again. So I'm not going to give her a bath today. I'm just going to throw her in the pool, and she hates to swim. So.
Well, that was fun. I don't know how we got there so fast. I mean, it's not even a whole minute, and we got there. So
that's just lightning fast.
Let's jump on to keto, the ketogenic diet, and there's a lot of ways to go about keto. We don't really have to get into that today. Dirty keto or clean keto or whole food keto. I prefer the whole food, clean food approach, real food kind of thing. Save the dirty keto for cheat day. That way you're still eating so-so foods, I guess. But anyways,
well, we don't want you to live like a monk.
No,
there's no sense of living a long time if you're miserable.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people like that. So, but if you're going to have go to Cedar Point, and you definitely want to get some of their fries up there with the garlic Parmesan. Yeah. Not that I've ever eaten them, but they look really good. So,
it's going to happen sometimes, guys.
It's called life.
But so what we want to talk about today is something that was secondhand told to me by a medical doctor. I believe it was a surgeon who is blaming a ketogenic diet for more young people having their gallbladders removed. And I thought, wow, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That was just, I don't have a medical background aside from all the research I do. So what I wanted to do was have a doctor on to talk about this, because I know a ketosis is not a way of life. Ketosis is a state that the body goes into. It is a natural state. We're born into that state. As long as we're breastfeeding, we are generally ketogenic. And then throughout life, naturally, we would have been in ketosis different seasons of the year. Simple as that. So ketosis is not a way of life. It is a tool to use. When you need a hammer, you use a hammer. You need a screwdriver, you use a screwdriver. Ketosis is one of those tools. So, Dr. Ted, what is your thought on ketosis disrupting the gallbladder in such a way that we have to go in with a knife and a scalpel and remove it?
All right, so let me give you a real short answer to a long question. It is garbage. And that's the French pronunciation of garbage, okay? The average American, the average person should get 3 to 5 pounds of sugar a year.
Yeah.
The average American consumes somewhere between 150 and 180 pounds of sugar a year. And it's a non-nutrient.
And that's fun to think of, because I eat zero sugar for the most part. I mean, I will go weeks or months without eating any sugar at all, which means somebody else is eating that much more.
Somebody's eating 300 pounds. And I think they all shop at Walmart.
Yeah.
But if you figure that one slice of bread, has 15 grams of carbs, that's sugar.
Yeah.
That's still sugar. And people say, well, I want fruit. Well, okay, but it's still sugar. And a lot of the fruit that we eat now has been genetically modified. It's not balanced with minerals as much as it had been, and it makes it sweeter, and you get the adverse effects of sugar. So bacteria, virus, parasites, fungus, I don't care what the source is. Sugar is sugar.
Yeah.
You don't want to feed the critters. But back to what you were talking about, being in ketosis, fasting is a really good way to get into ketosis, but you can't sustain fasting, but you can sustain a ketogenic diet and a way of life. The one bad thing is there's no long-term studies on ketosis, because people tend to drop out of it, and they're been brainwashed or bashed. Oh, you got to do it, perfectly. And again, we're not called to live a life of a monk.
Yeah.
And that's why monks don't, that doesn't work out too well for them. I don't know, but I've never been one. I've never been accused of being a monk. Not by a long shot.
Monk is not a hereditary thing, is
No,
it? You can't pass down those genes if you're not passing down those genes.
No, I think I don't know where that comes from. But it's not necessarily for me. But you want to enjoy your life, and that's where the dirty keto comes in if you need to. But most people find that once they eliminate sugar from their diet, they feel so much better. They don't have cravings. They don't have spikes in insulin. And we were talking earlier about leptin and ghrelin. And those are hormones that tell you you're hungry or that you're full. Leptin is produced by the fat in the body. And you're eating and you take one bite and you're good. And you go to take that second bite and your body was like, no, I can't do it. And Mike, would you tell me you never did that?
I had never had that feeling of satiety. I've had a lot of metabolic damage in my life. I'm very grateful for my mom, who has been a cake baker my whole life, and she makes terrific cake. So that used to be breakfast and lunch for me, and then beefaroni for dinner. So my body was always being bombarded with sugar, which, in my teens, I was always riding a bike, burning that sugar off right until I got a car. And then all of a sudden, my body started putting on fat. I never in my life, though, had a shutoff system that told me, hey, you've had enough to eat.
And that's what leptin does.
Yeah, I've been full and bloated and still starving. But recently, I've done some different experiments.
But that's called leptin resistance. And there's another word for that, too. It's called stupidity. But I wouldn't say that.
It is what it is, So. It is what it is. But antibiotic use, all these different things. Who knows what actually triggered that in my body? Or having two older brothers and a dad, where we would stand around the stove and eat as fast as you could because the other person was going to get more. So that's and I was the youngest. I was the runt. So, but those kind of things can lead to leptin issues. But through a ketogenic approach, a very low carb approach, I recently, and it was a very extreme approach compared to most people, but I recently had my first time of taking a bite, going for that next bite, and I just was done. I just didn't care. That was my very first time in my entire life of being done and satiated and happy and full. And that was a pretty incredible thing, since I've dedicated my life to this for the last 7 years. So,
and that's the way it should be. And without coming in and talking to Mike and getting his expertise on diet, which he has a ton, intermittent fasting is very good. And you can, like, the bottom line with that, let's say you're going to do intermittent fasting. You pick 8 hours of the day that you can take in all of your calories, and then you just don't eat the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But it may be even a shorter period of time. It may be even 4 hours. Yep. If you do that, I would just tell you, don't do it at the end of the day, because like cows, when they fatten them up, they don't really change what they feed them, but they just feed them once a day at late.
Well, one of the things that, and this is where we're going to go off a little tangent here before we get back to the gallbladder, but the whole calories in, calories out thing, it matters. It matters how much calories your body's using and burning, but it's very much a hormone thing for a lot of people. So for cows, they will put a little tablet of mold in their ear that affects their hormones. And those cows now become 30% more feed efficient, meaning they can get just as fat from 30% less feed. So right there, that kind of proves the calories in, calories out is not a 100% accurate equation. So that's kind of a craziness that none of us think of. I had a patient, one of the patients the other day said, man, I was eating corn the other day and it hit me. This is what they give cows to make them fat right before they butcher them. And I just went, that's right. Corn is not people food. It's sometimes food, but it's not people food. So
grains in general are not the best source of calories. They're hard to break down. Yeah. And wheat has been genetically modified. So we have vials of good wheat and bad wheat here. That's my next meeting.
Let's jump back to the gallbladder. Yeah, what's actually happening in the gallbladder?
Sugar is what's gumming up the works, because sugar will make
the bile duct in the gallbladder is actually where the issue's coming in. Right?
Well, no. What happens is the liver produces bile, and then it goes through into the gallbladder where it's concentrated tenfold. Okay, and then when you eat fat, the body picks that up, and a hormone called cholecystokinin is what triggers the release of bile from the gallbladder so you can process the fat. The problem is sugar makes any inflammatory, infectious, or degenerative condition worse, and it simply robs nutrients, because when you put sugar in, everything that your gallbladder needed is now gone because you had to process the sugar.
Yeah.
So when you have, and sugar simply mimics any infectious or degenerative or pathologic process. It will make all of that worse. You can, that's one of the talks that we do, but sugar has the same mechanism of action. So when you're putting in sugar, and the nutrients that you put in your body are used as fuel for your organs, guess what? When there's no fuel for the organs can't function at 100%. And guess what? And that includes the gallbladder and the liver. And when they don't function at 100%, now you can get things gummed up and sticky adhesive secretions. And we're not drinking enough water. We don't keep the system hydrated. The old expression, when in doubt, flush it out. The solution to pollution is dilution. You can take that. You can use that today somewhere. But you have to be drinking the water. And it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And it'll start. But there's never been a study done. So for the guy to say this is all due to the keto diet is garbage.
Yeah. And it could be, to play off the word garbage, it could be the garbage keto diet or the crazy, crazy high fat keto diet. It's like, yeah, you need fat in your body. You need to take in fat. But I hear people doing 300 and 400 grams of fat a day. And at that point, where do you even get your protein from? How do you have any room left in you for protein?
So if you have leptin, it should be definitely kicking in with all that fat.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, I can eat that right now. It wouldn't stop me. I mean, it might in the last few months, the work I've done, but last year I could have eaten all the fat in the world. I could have just kept eating. I might have thrown up, but my hunger wouldn't have stopped.
So basic guidelines. What I tell people here, if you're on a 2,000 calorie keto, 155 grams of fat, maybe 150 grams of carbs, but 25 grams of 150 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs.
Yeah. What I really like to do with people is give them a minimum of protein, and then I like to give them a maximum of carbs, and then I use fat as a lever. So like if you ate breakfast and you find you're hungry within 4 hours, you didn't eat enough, or you didn't eat enough fat. So your body's looking for more fuel. So maybe you need to up your fat. That might mean an extra egg or a piece of bacon, or
tablespoon of coconut oil,
a little coconut oil, or a little bit of butter on your food, or just a fattier piece of meat. Those are just more getting fat, and it doesn't need to be some crazy amount, but you're just adjusting that lever based on your hunger signals. You should be able to go 4 to 6 hours without being hungry after a full and filling meal. So that's like the biggest key, I think. I used to think you had to hit these fat marks. Well, if you're having a ton of fat, you're not burning any fat, maybe you need to lower your fat, because you're either going to take it from your plate, or you're taking it from your side, your butt, thighs, those kind of things. So
when they say once past the lips, forever on your hips, they were talking about sugar, not fat.
Sugar is toxic. We do not store it as sugar. We store it as fat. So.
And so the thing about it is sugar will spike insulin, fat won't. And what happens is when your body, the insulin levels go up, that's the storage hormone. Your body says, hey, we have extra calories, let's store them. How do you store calories? Fat. Yeah. And that doesn't happen with fat. So, and the other thing too, with the ketogenic diet, that's why Mike's here. I get people started. I do the muscle testing, but I haven't talked to Mike for the refinement of the diet. And he has all that training. So please come in here and utilize that, or else even contact him on this website and pick him up as a health coach, because food is going to make you better no matter what. Yeah.
And here is Dr. Ted's office in East Liverpool, Ohio. East Liverpool Family Practices, what it goes by. I'm a muscle tester, and we get great results, and we get people off of prescription medicines. But if all you do is have somebody that you can utilize as a resource for their knowledge of an application of food, which is what Mike has, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, and if you don't apply it correctly, you're poop out of luck. Yeah.
So you have to have the expertise and be able to convey that to your clients so that they can put it to use in their daily life. And then ultimately, if you never had somebody to identify what a target organ or the priority organ was, eventually your body will still heal and repair, because your body will make you crave what you need to fix the problem. Best example of that is, as a mother, a nursing mother, the only person on the planet can give that baby what it needs is the mom.
Yeah.
And there's a connection there that we don't even know. And mom eats what she needs to eat to give that baby what the baby needs. So,
I had about a month and a half where I bet I ate 4 to 8 ounces of liver almost every day. I'll say between 2 and 8 ounces. I was crushing back liver from beef, lamb, whatever I could find. I was eating every bit of it I could. Kidneys, I was getting all the organs I could. My body wanted them all. And I'm telling you, kidneys don't taste great. I still wanted them. I couldn't get enough of them. And then one day I just went, I think I'm done. That's nice. So I just throw them in every once in a while. So, but we didn't really hit too much on the actual workings of the gallbladder. But rest assured, the gallbladder is not getting gummed up and problematic because of healthy fats. There are always other issues causing that. It is not healthy fats, no matter what this this cut 'em up doctor said.
Because their motto is, when in doubt, cut it out.
Yeah. And
slash for cash, baby.
And Gina's asking, honey maple syrup just as bad as white sugar? It all depends on how healthy you are. If you are not metabolically damaged the way I have been most of my life, then you can probably handle, tablespoon here and there, but sugar's sugar. So if you're going to be low carb and keto, you definitely want to limit your honey and your maple syrup use. I think honey's a little better if it's a raw honey, and I use it more as a supplement, not as a sweetener. There's other ways to sweeten things. So I will use honey if I'm having sleep issues because I've been low carb for a while. Just a little bit, like a half a tablespoon of honey, will really help your sleep. Just sleep is very brain intensive, very energy intensive. We don't think that. Sleep will help, or the honey will help you get a good night's sleep. And if you're low enough carbs, it won't knock you out of ketosis. So yeah.
The other thing with honey, if you're going to eat it, try to get local honey so you'll get the benefit from an allergic standpoint. So allergies, it's got to be what the bees need to be exposed to, what is in the air.
Yeah. And I had a patient asking about honey, and she kept hitting on honey. Well, I need to eat the honey. And I finally stopped and said, well, why? Do you like it? She said, no, it's just all the health benefits. I said, well, listen, you have a lot of other places you can get the health benefits without eating sugar. So it's health benefits with sugar attached. So it just all depends. Honey's a treat. Honey is a sometimes food. So, but I hope
but again, when they cut the gallbladder out, obviously you can live without it. But guess what? Now you can't concentrate the bile salts. Yeah. Now you can't squirt those into your bile when you do eat a fatty meal. And that's not a huge problem. Some people don't have a problem with it. 15% of people still have what's called post-cholecystectomy syndrome, where they still have all the same symptoms. So those are people that are on a product called Cholacol for the rest of their life. And that's just a concentrated form of bile salts. And so they take it with meals. More fat, more Cholacol.
And we're an incredibly complex system. And if anybody ever tells you they know how the human body works, you can't trust anything else they say after that. Because no one knows how the human body works fully except for God. So anytime someone's telling you the body is perfectly fine and doesn't even need a gallbladder, doesn't need whatever, that's crazy talk. I mean, that's a bit of a, oh man, that's like a pompous.
Well, if you didn't need it, God wouldn't have put it in there. But yeah, so when they say something like that, say, are you absolutely certain? And they say yes. And then you say, well, I heard that absolute certainty only exists in a closed mind.
Yeah.
So you can use that one too.
Well, everybody, I hope this was helpful. Gina, thanks for the question. I hope that was helpful for you as well.
Keep your gallbladder, Gina.
Yeah, you can always reach out to me and ask any questions at lifestartswithfood.com. Either Kim or myself will answer, Kim being my wife. You're looking for coaching? I'm your guy. We can set up either ongoing consults or a one-off. If you are already in the paleo ancestral sphere, then I'm more than happy to do a one-off consult with you and just kind of tweak things. So with that said, you guys have a great day. God bless.